Hello, fifth graders. I wanted to go over some of the problems from our Friday quiz that some people got incorrect. I just want to make sure that you understand them. So, for this specific problem, it said define outlier, give an example. A lot of people said, again, any number in a data set that's different from the rest, which is correct. But then when it came to this problem where it said an example of an outlier, okay, a lot of people had trouble. They understood that this was the outlier, but they didn't know how to label it, what number it specifically was. So if I look, I see 70 here and I see 75 here. And then I see 5 spaces. So that must mean that each of these dashes stands for one whole. So if 70 is here, 71 is here, and that means that 72 is where that outlier is. So the answer for that one is 72. For this one, again, they said, what is the total amount of time Eric practiced shooting free throws in 10 days? A lot of people were able to fill this out correctly. They saw that 1/2 was represented once, so they multiplied it by 1. They saw 3/4 was represented twice, multiplying by 2. 1 was represented 3 times, so they multiplied by 3, and so on. But then to find the total amount, you had to find, well, what is this answer? All right, so the correct answer to this, when you did 1/2 times 1, 3/4 times 2, 1 times 3, and so on, you got 11.5 hours. This was the correct answer, 11.5 hours. The next one, this was a little tricky. This had a lot of drop downs. So what is the outlier in the data set? A lot of people did get that one correct. It was $3.66 all the way over here. And this is because it is far from the other data values, which is correct. Number 8, it said Cole brought 10 gallons of gas at the gas station with the lowest price. So first off, we need to think, well, what's the lowest price out of all of these? That must be the $3.57 price. So he bought 10 gallons of the $3.57 per gallon price. He paid with two $20 bills. So you had to write and solve an equation to find his change. So I would skip this first because that's the answer. Let's look at the equation. Well, two $20 bills is $40. So what he did then, if it's $3.57 for 1 gallon, he multiplied $3.57 times 10. And what he got from there, $3.57 times 10 is $35.70. So then you have 40 minus $35.70, and that's how you get $4.30. Now, some people put a dollar sign in these spots, which is actually more correct than what they have, like especially for this one. It did mark you incorrect, but what I did do is go into Pearson and I made a little comment on your quiz, and because I saw that, and it is updated in Encore. So I added some points to your grades for those because you actually did get it correct. All right, so that was the answer for that one. This next one, again, Bart recorded the amount of rain that fell in a desert in each month for 1 year. What was the total amount of rainfall in the desert? So, total amount, you have to add all of these things up. You have to add 4/10 once. You have to add 5/10 once, twice. You have to add 6/10 once. Now, I think a lot of people messed up with this problem because they didn't know what this dash meant. They saw 8/10 here, and then they saw 9/10 here. So in between 8/10 and 9/10, this is actually right in the middle. It's 85 hundredths. So this is 0.8, this is 0.9, this is 0.85. So they had to add 85 hundredths twice. Same thing, 9/10, one whole, 95 hundredths is right here. So I think that was an issue for this one, is that you didn't know what this line was because it wasn't exactly labeled. You had to use your number sense for that one. This one, it said Erin made a line plot of the amount of time she practiced shooting free throws each day in the past 10 days. What's the difference between the greatest and the least times? So the greatest times she played, not the greatest number, but the greatest times that she played practicing free throws was 2. And the least time she played was half. So what you had to do was do 2 minus 1/2, and your answer was 1.5 hours for that one. And this one, it said a lot of people, when you had to match up the data with the line plot, I think a lot of people just made some silly mistakes for those and just looked at numbers incorrectly, because it is hard. You do have to kind of pay attention and really closely look at all the data points, because from far away they look all the same. All right, but the big thing for this one was that the data on here on the line plots, look, it was 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. They're not simplified at all. 2/6 is not simplified, 4/6 is not simplified. But if you look at this data, it is simplified. 1/3 is the same thing as 2/6. 1/2 is the same thing as 3/6. So that's kind of how they tricked you with that problem. They didn't have simplified fractions here, but they had some simplified fractions here. So they wanted to kind of trick you on that problem. And this one again, construct a line plot for the data set. This one was correct because I see there are 1, 2, 3 halves. I see 3 x's above half. There are 2 zeros. I see 2 x's above 0. There are 1, 2, 3 3/4. I see 3 x's above 3/4. And there's 1, so I see 1 x above 1. And that's pretty much, those were the major problems that I saw people had issues with. I just wanted to go over those just so you kind of understood those and felt more comfortable with this. What I am going to do, if you are not satisfied with your line plot quiz grade, after you watch this video, there will be a little link, and basically attached to the very last question on this Edpuzzle video, there will be a Google form link, and I'm going to ask you, it's going to be another little 10-question quiz. It is optional, but if you want to take it to maybe bump up your line plot quiz grade a little bit, you are more than welcome to take it. So it is optional, but I would suggest for people that maybe didn't like the grade that they got on their line plot quiz, you can take it. So that is at the very end of